Hey, what's going on? It's your man, Dr. Will, and you know the deal. Let me know what city, what state, what country you are chiming in from. Even if you're watching the replay, let me know what city, what state, what country you are chiming in from. I'm here on the beautiful island of St. Martin on this early Friday morning, 5 a.m. for me here in St. Martin. So wherever you are in the world, let me know what city, what state, what country you are chiming in from. I want to talk to you guys. I titled this The Miseducation of the Entrepreneur. The Miseducation of the Entrepreneur. So wherever you're chiming in from, let me know where you're coming in from. I just always love to know where I'm connecting with my online community from. So just let me know where you're coming in from. Just quickly say, hey, I'm in Baltimore, I'm in Paris, I'm in Germany, I'm in India, I'm in Kentucky, I'm in California. Let me know where you are. And let's talk about the miseducation of the entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur practically all of my life, right? All of my life, I've always had what I call the entrepreneurship spirit. The entrepreneurship spirit. It started for me back at Caldwell Elementary. I'll never forget when I got the bug. My mom took me to this store called Smart and Final. And at Smart and Final, it was like a big department store where you could buy bulk supplies. So my mom took me there, and I remember buying a box of blow pops, like those little charm blow pops, the little lollipop had the gum in the middle of it. My mom took me there, and I bought a box of blow pops. I think, it maybe cost about $5 to get a box of 50. I can't quite remember how many came in the box, but I bought that quantity. And I remember taking those blow pops to school. And when I took them to school, I remember selling out. Like at recess, I remember like selling out within, 20 minutes. My inventory was gone. But here was the game changer for me. I remember getting down to my last blow pop, and there were two kids that wanted to buy the blow pop. And I was selling them maybe about 50 cents. So after I sold like 10 of them, I had made my money back, right? I had earned my investment back at 50 cents. So 10, got my $5 back. Now I'm looking at nothing but straight profit. I get down to my last blow pop, and a bidding war starts. So I'm selling them for 50 cents, but because it's the last one of the kids say, I'll give you 75 cents. Another kid says, I'll give you $1. Another kid says, I'll give you $1.25. And they're going back and forth. I give you $1.50. And I couldn't believe it. In my mind, at that young age, I was like, I just only paid $5 for this box, and literally off of one blow pop, I'm about to make back all of my money, right? And so I'll never forget, the bidding stopped at $2.25. The bidding stopped at $2.25, and I can't remember the young man's name, but he was now the proud owner of a blow pop for the sweet price of $2.25. That's when I knew I was in love with entrepreneurship. I didn't know all the fancy terms. I don't even know back in the 80s if entrepreneurship was the term, right? But I knew that, man, I could buy something at one price and be able to sell it at a profit. I didn't know, once again, all the terminology behind business, but I knew, man, that's kind of what I wanted to do. And so I'm 45 now. That probably happened when I was 10 years old. So the last 35 years, in some way, form, or fashion, I've been involved with entrepreneurship. But along that road, I realized that I lacked a lot of education. And that's why I titled this The Miseducation of the Entrepreneur. I had drive, I had passion, I had desire. And initially, I thought that's what it took to build a successful business, to have drive, to have passion, to have desire, even to have a great idea. That's what I thought it took. I thought if I worked hard, that would be the components of building a successful business. But now here I am, 20 years later, after being strictly an entrepreneur, I realized that I was miseducated. I was miseducated. And I don't even know where I got my education from as it related to becoming an entrepreneur. I just thought, if I had a great idea, if I had great passion, that would take care of everything. If I was willing to work hard, that would take care of everything. But now, after running several successful businesses, being able to sell a few of those businesses, I realized that it takes more. And one of the things that I had to learn was this principle. And it's a biblical principle that says, as long as the earth remains, there'll always be seed, time, and harvest. Seed, time, and harvest. As an entrepreneur, I'm a big idea person. I'm a big vision person. I'm a visionary. Like I'll go to sleep and I'll have a dream of an idea. I'll wake up, I'll be super excited, and I want to immediately implement that idea or whatever it is, because I'm a big picture person. Most entrepreneurs are big picture people, right? We're the type of individuals that walk up to the plate, and every time we walk up to the plate, all we see is a home run. That's all we see. We don't see getting to first base. We don't see getting to second base. We don't see bunting. We see a home run. That's what excites us, right? We see the grand finale. But over the years, what I've realized is that in this principle of seed, time, and harvest, if you look at your seed as an idea, as your business, if you look at that, then you realize to get to the point of harvest, there's a process that must take place. And that's where most entrepreneurs mess up. We mess up in the process because what I found out to be true is many of us, we try to live the process and what I call the promise at the same time. The promise is what I call your harvest. And so we'll have that vision, we'll have that dream, we'll have that idea. And what we see is this idea is going to make me a millionaire. Like that's the harvest. That's the promise. That this idea, that this dream is going to change my life. It's going to take us to the next level. So we see, right, the idea, we see the dream, and then we see the harvest. But we forget in between the idea and the promise is a process. And that process is the time, right? It's the time. The time for an idea to mature, the time for an idea to develop, the time for an idea to mature. And we want to circumvent the process and jump right from idea, right, to promise and forget the process. And so because we do that, what happens is a lot of our ideas fall by the wayside. A lot of our businesses fail. They fizz out. And we think it's because of everything else except what the real truth of it is. And the real truth of it is you didn't let the process play out. You didn't let the process play out. And a lot of times we look at people who are living in their harvest and we want to live in our harvest, but we haven't went through the process that they went through. We haven't went through the journey that they went through. We haven't let our seeds develop. We haven't let our seeds develop. And if you just think about like a farmer doesn't go plant a seed and then tomorrow expect a harvest. And even before a seed is planted, there's work that has to be done even before the seed is planted. Right? I was talking to an entrepreneur yesterday on a coaching call, and they said, here's the idea that I have. This is what I want to do. And I said, okay, But let's see if the ground, the market, is fertile for that seed. And I begin to ask him all these different questions. Hey, have you done this? Have you researched this? Have you looked at this? See, even before you can plant the idea, even before you can plant the seed, even before you can start that company, there's some stuff that you got to do to the ground. There's some stuff you got to do to the soil. Like the farmer knows that he has to go till the ground. There may be some rocks. There may be some broken glass. There may be something underneath the surface of the dirt that you don't quite see on the surface that will prevent the seed from growing. And this is the type of work that a lot of us as entrepreneurs, business owners, we don't like to do. It's what I call the unsexiness of business. It's the unsexiness of business. We want to do all the fun, colorful stuff, design the website, get my marketing together, work on my brand. But when I ask them, man, have you researched the market? Is this a solution that the market is looking for? See, because once again, we usually come to the market with passion. Man, I know this is a good idea. I know this is a good idea. Everybody gonna want this. How do you know everybody wants this? What testing of the market have you done to know that everybody wants this? How do you know that everybody would want it from you? Think about that now. How do you know it may be a good idea, but have you tested the market to see if people want to buy it from you? It's not that they may not want to buy it, but do they actually want to buy it from you? Think about that, right? So as I was talking to one of my clients, I was asking him this in our initial consultation. Man, what work have you done to even know that the market is going to receive this from you? So when you're thinking about that seed, that idea, that business, I want you to also think about the process, and how long that process is going to take. You know, with every seed, with every idea, with every business comes a different process. There's a different process of harvesting an apple orchard, an apple tree, than there is a strawberry patch. So when you look at your business, do you have a business that may take 10 to 15 years to come to maturity? Is that the type of business that you're growing? Like, for instance, I have a coaching and consulting company. The type of work that we do is not the type of business that most people would see the benefit on the surface. Most people, in their minds, they need to see immediate result. Like, you go to the store, I have my money in my hand, I want this water, boom, it's an even exchange. The moment that I invest my money, boom, I get my product, I'm enjoying my product, right? That's how most people see transactions. That's how most people see benefits. That's how most people see the reason for doing something. Am I going to get it right now? Right? Am I going to get it right now? That's why Amazon is so powerful right now, right? Because instant, like within 3 days, within a day, boom. And for most of us, that's the world that we live in right now. I want to invest and I want to see the return right now. I want to invest, I want to see the return right now. So I knew that I have one of those types of businesses that you're not going to see the immediate, right? The immediate return on your investment. So I knew that initially the investments weren't going to come in fast because there's some work that has to be done. You have to talk to clients. You got to get them in a position where they see the long-term benefit in coaching, where they see the long-term benefit in consulting. It's the same thing if you're a personal trainer. Right? Person wants to lose 100 pounds. They're not going to lose 100 pounds in 1 week. They're not going to lose 100 pounds in 1 month. So you got to sell them on the benefit of showing up to the gym every day, of changing their diet, right? Of changing their mind. You got to upfront sell them on the benefits of doing all of this upfront work upfront before they even see results. Because there's a strong possibility that they could be working with you for a month and not see any external changes, not realizing that there are internal changes going on that haven't manifested right on the outside yet. So what happens? They get discouraged. They think it's not working. So for my company, I knew it was going to be once again, it's going to be a person selling a phone versus a person selling coaching is going to be very different, because immediately you can see, man, this is what I can do with this phone. So this is why people will buy a Samsung or an iPhone, and they will invest or spend or pay whatever they want to call it, $700, $1,000, because they can immediately see it. They can immediately see it. So I knew what type of business that I had. So you're going to ask yourself, what type of business do you have? So when I saw other businesses that had a different product than me, appearing that if they were growing faster than mine, I knew that in the long term, right, that either I would catch up with them and in most places surpass them, because I knew that the product that I was offering was going to have a higher profit margin, right? It was going to have a higher profit margin. So for me, one of the things that I had to do, because once again, I'm big picture. Every time I stepped up to the plate, I just saw home run. That's all I saw was home run. And then I had a coach, and what she taught me, let me show this to you guys real quick. She taught me this simple thing right here that changed my life. She taught me this simple thing right here that changed my life. Let me show this to you. I'm writing something down. She showed me this simple quadrant right here that changed my life. This right here. And let me show you. So when you look at this quadrant, the quadrant goes here. It goes visionary, strategist, doer, communicator. Visionary, strategist, doer, communicator. As a visionary and as a communicator, now here's the process. Vision, strategy, doer, communicator. Vision, strategy, doer, communicator. As a visionary, I can't flip it, man. That's the way it goes, Mario. It's the reverse of the camera, right? It's the right way, man. It just looks weird for you guys. But as a visionary and a communicator, when I get an idea, when I have a dream, when I have a vision, right? I go from vision to wanting to talk about it. That's what excites me. From vision to communication to wanting to talk about it. Right? That's where I go. If you're like me, you get this vision, you get this idea, you want to go out and tell everybody about it. Man, I just had this dream. I just had this vision about this business, man. We about to be balling, right? And what would happen is people would hear it and they would get excited and they would want to join me. And so we would meet up. But guess what? I didn't have any strategy. I didn't have anything for them to do. Right? For a lot of visionaries that start companies, they want to go hire people. And they hire people and they share their vision, but because they haven't sat down with a strategist, with a coach, a consultant, they don't have anything for their employees to do. So they sit around. And then the employees, the doers, they get frustrated and they start saying stuff like, man, we just show up to work and do nothing. So I had to learn, for me, as a visionary, I had to discipline myself to let it go through the process. Of taking my vision, sitting down, and coming up with a strategy. And whether that was me coming up with a strategy or me sitting down with a business consultant or a mentor or a coach that I hired, it was sitting down and saying, okay, here's my vision. Here's what I think it can do. But now it's about finding out what's the path we're going to take to get there. What's the road we're going to take to get there? What's the tools? What's the people that we need to get there? Right? So as a visionary, you got to ask yourself, and this is probably true for most entrepreneurs, we're big picture people. So you need to sit down, right? But this for us as the visionary is not fun. This is why you need discipline. This is why you have to have discipline and you have to have accountability, because this part of the process is not fun. This is where most everybody loses it. This is when you have to sit down with the accountant. This is when you got to sit down with the tax person. This is when you got to sit down with your business coach and talk about what I call the boring and the laborious side of business, right? When you have to look at P&L sheets, profit and loss statements, balance statements that you're not even interested in. But this is what's going to make your business run. All we see is hitting a home run. But the strategist is going to say, in this situation, right? In this situation, let's get to first base. And then the next batter, the next thing that we do is going to advance us to second base. Then the next thing we're going to do is going to look like a sacrifice. But what we're going to do is we're going to bunt, or we're going to do a sacrifice fly to advance the runner that's on second to get him to third. So in this season, it may look like you're losing. It may look like you're losing. You're going to get called out. But at the same time, we're going to advance one of the runners to third. So when our next batter comes up, all they need to do is hit a single so they can advance the runner from third to home run. And now we scored. Now that takes longer. That's not as exciting as a home run. But that strategy, when you look at it, you're more likely to be able to get to first base a lot more than you are able to hit a home run. And once you understand that, that the game is not won by home runs. The game is won by on-base percentage. That's where the game is won, on-base percentage. So once you realize, oh, that's how you win the game. I don't win the game. I don't win a 9-inning game in the first inning. Even if I run off 10 runs, I still got to play the rest of the game. I still got to play the other 8 innings. I got to finish the process. I hope this is making sense. Even if you come out the chute, boom, boom. Even if your first up to bat is a home run. And sometimes that happens to entrepreneurs. Man, boom, you get out the gate running and boom, windfall of money. But then, right, that's what happens to a lot of athletes, right? That's what happens to a lot of athletes. Boom, they get drafted, they get the big contract, but they did not have a strategy for after the game. They only had a strategy for right now. Their only strategy was making it pro. But they didn't have a strategy that says, what am I going to do after I finish playing? And so it's hard for us to conceive, how did you make $50 million and 5 years later you're broke? How is that? The same thing happens with lottery winners. They had a vision to win, but they did not have a strategy to grow and sustain the money. They just had, their vision was play the lottery. That was the vision. Play the lottery, win the lottery, win the lottery. They went from playing the lottery to harvest in their mind. Play the lottery, win the harvest. But they didn't have the strategy, the process. Okay, what happens if we do win this $50 million? What are we going to do? What are we going to put in place? Besides buying cars and houses, what are we going to put in place? That's what happens to a lot of athletes. Their whole goal, all the time they were in high school, all the time they were in college, their whole vision was to turn pro. But they never had a plan of what happens if I do turn pro. What's our sustainability plan? How do I not only be a millionaire for 5 years, but for the rest of my life and my kids' life and my grandkids' life? They didn't have a strategy. They didn't have a strategy. And so the miseducation of the entrepreneur is that we think everything is going to be a home run. We think that everything has to be a home run. And we miss out on the process. It's seed, time. Time is that process before the harvest. And so I want you guys to think about this as you're building your business. Are you a visionary? And where are you in the process? Do you need to be working on your strategy? It may not be time to hire people. It may not be time to get doers right now. If you don't have no strategy, what are you going to do with them? It may not be time to talk about what you're doing. It may be time just to put your face down and be plowing in that dirt, excavating the land. That's where you may be in the process. That's where you may be in the process. So you need to know where you are in the process. Am I at the vision stage? Have I went through the strategy stage? If I found out that, man, I got these people and they're supporting me, but I don't know how they're going to support me, I need to come back down and get with a strategist. I need to come back down and get with a strategist. I got to come back down and get with the strategist, guys. So I hope that helped you. It was just something I was thinking about as I was talking to my client yesterday. And I wanted to share that with you. So I call it the miseducation of the entrepreneur, the miseducation of the entrepreneur. And so I hope it helps you out, gives you something to think about. Go out there and have a fantastic Friday, guys. And I'll talk to you guys later.